Hello and welcome to Dead Letter Movie Chat, episode 27, special edition. I'm Scum.
I'm Villainy.
And we're talking today about the new Star Wars movie, obviously. Episode 7, The Force Awakens, directed by J.J. Abrams, the first Star Wars movie in over 30 years not directed by George Lucas. So This is the first Star Wars movie also after the sale of Lucasfilm to Disney. It's passed out of the hands of Mr. Lucas, the original creator, who gave us this great universe to play in, but then he also gave us some really crummy movies.
Yeah.
So
Space C-SPAN.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this is this movie made all the money. Everyone's aware of this by now. It's broken all the records and everything. And this is the first time in a really, really long time that a film not directed by James Cameron, Steven Spielberg, or George Lucas has made all the money. If you were to look at the best anything thing, it was not, and I guess you can throw Christopher Nolan into that as well. But that's, mind you, it's not really a Lucas property, but it basically is. So that's kind of a neat thing. So episode 7. This is also the first time. It's the 7th movie released in the series, and it's also episode 7. So that's nice.
Yeah.
We don't have to deal with the Flash Gordon problem anymore. So this is it's not exactly a difficult movie to explain, but this is 20 years since Jedi.
30 years.
30 years.
It's not real clear, but something like that. Mm-hmm. So this this is long after the end of Return of the Jedi, the big battle. The big bad Emperor has fallen. Darth Vader is no more. But there's this new menace in the form of the First Order, who are, as you so eloquently put it, space Nazis. Again.
Space Nazis. They're space Nazis again.
If you look like the Empire was.
If you look at New Hope, this is more apparent in New Hope than it is in Empire and Jedi. They're clearly space Nazis.
They really are.
And the stormtroopers kind of add a little to the Nazism.
They do a little bit.
But yeah, this is very clear. The First Order is much more space Nazi than it was before. But I think it actually adds something to its villainy that may have been missing with the Sith in 1 through 3 for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And so we've got the First Order and the once again the plucky ragtag group of rebels.
Mm-hmm. Who are rebels again, more or less. No,
they call themselves the Resistance.
The Resistance, yes, that's it, yes. Synonyms.
Yes. So, a lot of parallels between this and a lot of elements in earlier movies, which is, I think, a valid criticism of this movie is that one of my problems with it is that it did lean a little too heavy on some of the ones that came before, I think. There were elements. It's that's just a little too close. It's I get you want to hew closer to what came before and not depart too much, so that it's clear this is of a piece. This is still Star Wars.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want that to be a crutch. You want that to be a support.
Yeah.
You want that to be something you can build on, but not something you're leaning on.
Yeah. There's it's sadly a fine line between homage isn't the right word, but there's a fine line between reminding and being aware. Then there's a fine line between that and pandering.
And there's plenty of fan service here. Most of it didn't come off as pandering, so good job on that. No, I loved the movie. I've been a lifelong Star Wars fan. Some of my earliest memories are of watching Star Wars. Full disclosure here. And, for the first time, since, before The Phantom Menace, this felt like Star Wars in a movie theater.
And I totally agree. Neither of us are old enough to have seen the original trilogy in the 70s and the early 80s.
Right.
But I did see the special editions when they got re-released again in the theaters in the 90s when I was 12 or so. And although Lucas messed with them and did things, it still felt like it was a really cool experience to have, to be able to see them big and neat and everything. And I agree, this felt like Star Wars again, as opposed to, like maybe Phantom Menace kind of felt like Star Wars, but definitely 2 was definitely C-SPAN in space, like the joke I said earlier, and
Yeah.
and the third one had the best potential to be Star Wars again, but somehow was not. I like Star Wars. I am, in that sense, I am a fan. I'm not like hardcore. I don't own any toys. I don't like, I have despecialized versions of the thing, so I guess that says something, but that has to do more with the fact that I just like them better. And I do not own the other 3. I do not own 1 through 3. So it's 1 through 3 I've only ever seen like once.
Yeah.
Whereas 4, 5, and 6 I've seen at least 5 times each. So I don't know. So I'm definitely in. It was very nice to see a Star Wars movie that wasn't dumb, and and that was really refreshing. It was a great theatrical experience because I had just the right amount of fans in it, and I was talking to Tim about how I have Star Wars fans. You are not evil people. You are fine. You're a little overly enthusiastic, and this is a problem with other things too. Don't get me wrong. There's been a number of zombie movies that I've been to where people just wouldn't shut up, and so I get it. And I was really nervous going to see this movie that I would be in one of those audiences where I'll miss stuff because people were clapping and not shutting up. Luckily, that was not the case, and the one hardcore fan guy that was in the audience with me was actually he actually added to the movie, which was pretty cool.
That is cool. It's
not
it helps when you've got a good audience.
It does really help when you get. It also will hurt when there's a bad audience. Yeah. But
so the movie itself, I really liked the new characters. I thought they were very well drawn. I immediately connected with them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're distinct from their predecessors. They're not straight analogs.
Nope.
Finn and Rey are not direct analogs of Luke and Leia. Poe Dameron is not a new Han Solo. There are similarities, but they're not the same characters.
They're not the same. And BB-8 is not really a new R2-D2.
BB-8 is very much his own character. Or it's he, she, it. I don't know. But
Z, I don't know.
BB-8 is really cool and was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, no, I really liked him. The cool thing about it is that we still have it still feels like a Star Wars movie still. We have these things that Tim and I were talking about how there's always been kind of like a dual storyline going on because there'd always be Luke stuff and then Han and Leia's various things that they got to do. The thing that I really like about this movie is that you can make a pretty good case that although there may be technically more story stuff going on with Rey, you can kind of both say that Rey and Finn are both solid stars, quote, protagonists of this movie. I wouldn't be able to tell you who is the supporting role between the two. If I can tell you who are other supporting roles, but I couldn't I wouldn't feel like I could designate Finn as a supporting role. Basically, is what I'm saying.
No, I wouldn't either.
And I think that's really cool. It really strengthens that dual protagonist two storyline thing that was apparent in the other movies. And I really like that. I think that's really, really cool. And the fact that they've branched out with the characters is really neat. I like the fact that this is a person who's in the quote dark side part and defects. That's really neat. Because we had 3 movies worth of one guy on the light side and going to the dark side. So it's really kind of refreshing to see it go the other way because
it never. That's an interesting twist.
I haven't done it before.
Yeah. So the new primary on-screen villain of Kylo Ren is not Darth Vader. He doesn't have the same presence that Vader did. He's again a different character. This is not Darth Vader. It's Kylo Ren. He's young. He's kind of inexperienced. He's immature, but that in a lot of ways makes him more dangerous. He doesn't feel as menacing, but he's a lot more unpredictable than Darth Vader.
Yeah. So it's really hard to equal severe menace that is Darth Vader.
And he is literally a Darth Vader wannabe.
Yeah, when I think of great villains in history, in film history, Darth Vader is in the top 3.
Yeah, he's way up there. When he shows up on screen, it's oh crap.
Yeah.
Mr. Bad News himself.
Yeah, I mean, like, the only way I think you can make something worse is if somehow Darth Vader could make a child with Nurse Ratched from Cuckoo's Nest.
Ooh.
Like, I mean,
Let's not
like
go down that rabbit hole.
and I don't want to go down that road because that's a scary, scary road.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, like, it was like that was one of those things that like it wasn't going to happen. So I didn't because I knew that wasn't going to happen. It made Kylo Ren get to be his own character in that sense for me.
And that I think is one of the biggest victories in this movie is there were some wonderful appearances from the primary cast from the original movies. We've got Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and Peter Mayhew are all in the movie, and it was great to see them, and their story kind of continues, but it's not really about them. They're in the story, but it's not their story anymore.
Yeah,
exactly. So this is a new generation of Star Wars for a new generation of fans, and for the old ones as well.
Yeah,
and yeah, I had a great time with this movie. It does have a lot of little flaws. And little things I can kind of say this might have been better if it had been placed somewhere else in the movie.
Yeah,
we're still trying to avoid spoilers here, folks.
Yeah,
we're 4 weeks out, but come on.
Yeah, we're still gonna be nice to people. Mostly I will boil it down to the extent of problems that I have with it have to deal with the fact that it could be less similar to New Hope, and that would have probably made the film better. There's one gigantic thing that's way too similar to New Hope that if you've seen the movie, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. And if that hadn't happened, all my other little problems would have been. It probably wouldn't have mattered as much to me. But
yeah. So we had a great cast, some great visuals, and some really good performances. I'm gonna give this movie a B+. It's popcorn movie. It's not great cinema. It was good. It was really good, but it wasn't great in the same way. I didn't get quite the same thrills from it that I did from Star Wars, and I. Having got some distance from it now and seen the movie a couple of times, I don't think that's just because I'm older and more jaded and more cynical now. I don't think it's just that.
I don't think it's just that either. I think this is a very well made movie. You're right. I mean, like, it's directed well. It has it could be less similar from New Hope, but the music, which we didn't even talk about, still John Williams.
John Williams did the music again,
and this is actually it's sort of subtle for him this time around. Subtle for John Williams. So
yeah.
Take that as that is. So I don't want you to think that this is like Alexander Desplat kind of music. I mean, like it's subtle.
Not.
Subtle for John Williams, and
and
that was good. And that really added to the movie. So for me, this is also a B+ movie. For me, I don't know. This is probably more like an 87 if I were to give it a number. The thing I've been telling people is that it's better than 1 through 3, but
which takes very little.
Which is really all it needed to do. I went into this movie expecting it to be the worst thing ever made, because we've all been burned by Star Wars. I don't think I'm cautiously pessimistic is how I described I was going into this.
Yeah.
And I would say this is definitely better than the first 3, but it could have been a C- movie and probably still would have been better than the first 3. This isn't quite as good as Jedi, but caveat